Hi, I'm Katie Eyre Brewer, and I'm running for Oregon House of Representatives, House District 29. I believe I am the most confident and competent candidate. I am running because I care. 3 areas of focus. 1 is in job creation and economic development. I have focused in creating a thriving business sector as chair of the Hillsborough Chamber of Commerce for Western Washington County. I am focused on fiscal spending as a state, handling how do we keep it under control. As a CPA, I will be the only CPA in the House should I win this election, and I hope to bring those skills to bear. And third, as a mother of 5 children, education is very important, not just for our kids today, but for the future for our state. I want to make sure that our education is world class, the best we can provide. I am not saying these things because I'm running. I'm running because I have championed for these for the better part of a decade now. I am most focused on revenue policy in our state. I have focused my career almost exclusively in taxation. I understand taxes. I understand how individuals and businesses respond to tax policy, both good and bad. I understand when a business decides where to locate, whether to grow, whether to shrink, what decisions that they have to come to, and how tax policy influences that. And if we really want to sustain our economic viability as a state to deliver those essential services, we need to look at our revenue policy and see what does that mean for creating our jobs and our private business sector. In general, my philosophy is if we don't have to put in a mandate, a heavy-handed regulatory mandate, I prefer to seek volunteer behavior from the groups involved in the behavior that we philosophically strive to modify. So I'd like to see the retailers and other people who use plastic bags to voluntarily minimize those. But it's not too long ago on this particular issue that plastic bags were brought up as a substitute for the paper bags, which apparently were having some environmental impact as well that was not favorable. So on this particular issue, I'm not sure that I have all the answers. Would love to hear more information, but philosophically I prefer not to have heavy-handed mandates when we can actually get our citizens and other participants in our community to voluntarily go in a direction that meets with our state's philosophy of environmental soundness. We have, when managing our budget, we have both what I call an acute crisis, but we also have a long-term responsibility here with the state's tax dollars. We need to, for long-term, we need to increase our rainy day fund, kind of help us out our own savings account. So when we get our tax collections in from our citizens and our businesses, we need to pay ourselves first through savings, and I'd like to increase our savings into a meaningful rainy day fund to hedge across that. More importantly, though, what we need to do is move people from the expenditure side of our state's ledger to our contribution income side of our state's ledger. What that means is right now we have many people that are unemployed, and this is part of the acute budgetary response. We have many people unemployed that are relying on our state for assistance. Food stamps, rental assistance, utility assistance, and on, unemployment benefits. If we can move them to the job creation side to have them be tax contributors, that will not only relieve our expenditure side, but will also buoy up our revenue side as a state. When we look at schools, we have to look at, I believe, in a minimum of 2 areas. First off is focus on the funding side of them. Not necessarily increased funding, but sustainable funding. It is unfair to our school systems to keep funding them in fits and starts. We need to provide them some assurance of the funding that they're going to get. If our children are our first priority, then I also advocate that we fund them first in our budgetary expenditure decision making as a state legislature. That means let's fund them at the beginning of the session, let the schools know and have some assurity of the money that they're going to get, and get that discussion done and over with, and then move on to our other priorities. Now that's the funding side. If we increase funding, I'd also like to clarify that the increased funding needs to absolutely get into the classroom to enhance the students' learning experience in the classrooms. Now, the other area of focus is on what are we getting in our students. Are they benchmarking? Are they performing? 1/3 of our students not graduating on time is unacceptable. We wouldn't accept that from any other area of our community. With our most precious citizens, our children, we should be making sure that they are being educated. We also have to increase parental choice in education. We do not have a one-size-fits-all issue here. Each child is unique and independent, and as they come to us for education, we need to make sure that the parents have a choice in choosing the model that's best for their child. That includes expanding charter schools and virtual online schools, making sure that our children get the best that is for them, as they are unique individuals, each one of them, as they show up on our doorsteps at our schools. I am very protective of the citizens, of the livability of my community, specifically in Western Washington County. I'd like to bring that to the state. We have the most wonderful state in the country, I believe, the most beautiful state. I am not a native Oregonian, but I have chosen to live here and make this my home because of all that it offers. I want to make sure we continue on the path that we are as a state in all the beautiful vibrancy that we have, that we can leave it to our children in good hands, stable hands, and not leave them with a legacy of debt and mismanagement, but rather a legacy of good stewardship of all our resources.